So I gotta say this first and foremost, I was wrong on the Grizzlies. I thought they were going to be one of the bottom seeds in the Western Conference. They've been really damn good this season, and now, unfortunately, there is a chance that I will end up being right about their record, but it'll be for the wrong reasons, which is injuries, as Chandler Parsons is still struggling with his knee injury that the Mavericks just wanted to get away from. Mike Conley is now out for the next 6 weeks, which is potentially devastating. And it's too bad because the team that they were before that was very good, and a team that's completely healthy can be pretty damn frightening, and, well, we'll dive into it. And let me say now, after listening back to the following commentary, I feel like I don't do enough justice to the defense. They're 5th in the league in defensive efficiency, or defensive rating, or whatever the hell it is. And, I mean, we're not super surprised by that one. I mean, Marc Gasol is one of the best defensive bigs in the league. Not super athletic, but his ability to move around the floor, as well as his smarts defensively, are just awesome. Mike Conley's a very good defensive point guard. JaMychal Green has been a big surprise this season, when I will jump into him more, but his defense has been very good for them. And of course there is Tony Allen, who's still awesome. Part of that was me just being flat out wrong on one thing, which is thinking Zach Randolph was just going to fall off a cliff this season, given that he's 35 and he does have a heavy build. Nope, Zebo's been very good, and he's actually in the running for 6th man of the year, as he's putting up 14 points and 8 rebounds. He's still a low post threat. He's still someone who can score inside, draw contact, and do damage down low as a scorer. So Zebo's still doing well. He's still a fantastic rebounder, playing about 22 minutes a game, but still grabbing 8 rebounds. That's really damn good. So I thought that he was going to fall off. He has not. But I also thought, even if he was going to maintain himself offensively, they just weren't going to have enough athleticism to defend power forwards, with the way the NBA is now, with guys going small and all that. Well, I didn't really know much about JaMychal Green, who has been one of the most underrated players in the league this season, and one of the best role players in the NBA period, as Green has been playing their power forward spot. He's averaging 10 points, 7 rebounds, on 48% from the field, as well as 32% from 3. Green, first and foremost, is way more athletic than Zebo. He can run up and down the floor well. He can stay with the Paul Millsap type power forwards of the NBA. If the other team chooses to go small, he is fine there. He can move around the floor really well. So right then and there, defensively, athleticism-wise, they made quite an upgrade at their power forward position just by having Green there. But he's also a nice shooter. He's taken about 30-something mid-range jumpers this season, if the website that I use for Shot Chart is correct, which means he's taking over 1 a game, and he's shooting like 47% from mid. So he's providing spacing, athleticism, and defense from the power forward spot, which was a big reason why I thought they weren't going to be good, because I didn't think they were going to be able to find that. So JaMychal Green has been awesome for them. He's shooting 32% from 3 right now, which is like not the best. If he could creep to around 35% from 3, about the league average, then he would be probably my favorite player in the NBA right now. So he's been awesome for them. But besides that, the Grizzlies right now are 15-8, and unfortunately Mike Conley is out for like the next 6 weeks apparently. That's a huge blow because he was awesome for them. He was putting up 19 points, 6 assists, 44 from the field, and 47% from 3, my goodness. And Conley, I was looking at some of the Clippers highlights. I mean, his ability to create, whether it be off the ball, because he can do a really good job of moving around screens and getting himself set up for either cuts inside or just open three-pointers. And it should be said, Marc Gasol, who's also been fantastic, 4 assists per game. They use Marc Gasol a lot in that offense. So you'll have Conley running across screens, and then Gasol can hit him for an open shot or something. But Conley's ability with the ball in his hand is also very good as well. He can beat guys off the dribble. There were a couple of times when he just beat Chris Paul one-on-one. Also playing in the pick and roll. I mean, the Conley, Marc Gasol pick and roll or pick and pop was one of the best plays in the league this season, as Gasol has had a revelation as a three-point shooter. So Conley was just fantastic for them. He was the creator they really needed. And unfortunately, he's out for the next 6 weeks. That's going to be really tough because they have no one else on this team who you really look at as a ball handler and a creator and you say, they're going to be okay. So they're going to have to really grind out some wins. But to be fair, this is the Memphis Grizzlies we're talking about, a team that, look, if Zebo's healthy, if Gasol is healthy, something tells me they're not a lost cause, even with Conley being out. And now I should also mention Marc Gasol. He came off of an injury last season, and he's having potentially his best season so far. Now the rebounding has fallen off a cliff. He's only grabbing 6 a game. Some of this is due to the fact that he is along the perimeter a lot. But given that he's shooting over 40% from 3 at the moment, taking about 3.5 a game, I got no problem with him standing on the perimeter, man, because it makes their offense so much better. Of course, there's the Conley-Gasol pick and pop, which I mentioned before, that they used more than once against the Clippers. That resulted in Gasol just getting open three-pointers. But also, he's always been a good passer, but now that he can stand at the three-point line, and the opposing center or whoever's defending him has to actually care about him because he can hit threes, that gives the Grizzlies so much room for people to move off ball and cut to the rim, and Gasol's going to find him. 4 assists for a center is that's like 10 assists for a point guard, how good that is. And like I mentioned before, Mike Conley was huge on that one. They also have done that to get the ball to Zebo in the post. I mean, what better spacing can you get than Marc Gasol at the three-point line, Zebo posting up down low, and then, if the center wants to bring help, and a lot of NBA centers naturally want to be around the basket, Gasol can knock down the three-pointer. So Marc Gasol just makes your offense so much freaking better. And I haven't mentioned, he's still a really good post-up player. His turnaround jumper has progressed as he's gotten older. He had quite a few turnarounds over DeAndre Jordan in the post, so this is a guy who can hit from outside, can be a very good passer, whether it be from the post, where there have been times where he's thrown passes from one end of the floor to the other to get an open shooter or an open cutter or just to continue the offense. So you can't double team him from the post, because then he's going to find the open guy, but you kind of have to because he's also a very good post-up player. But then you can also use him as a shooter, a three-point shooter. I mean, Gasol offensively is great. Zebo's still posting up. JaMychal Green is hitting his jumpers. That being said, they are still 25th in offensive rating, and the reason for that is pretty much all of their offense comes from Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, which, granted, these guys are very good on that side of the floor, but they really haven't gotten a lot of scoring out of their wing players. But if Chandler Parsons was healthy and was the very efficient 15 to 17 point game scorer / shooter that they could use, then I think this team would be very, very scary. I think a healthy Grizzlies team, one of Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Chandler Parsons, JaMychal Green with his athleticism, his defense, his shooting, at least from mid-range, Marc Gasol being the most convenient offensive player ever, Zebo coming off the bench, that's a scary frickin' team, man. That's one of those instances where, yeah, they don't have a top 10 player. That's a damn good team. Conley's out right now. Chandler Parsons is always dealt with knee troubles. I mean, the Mavericks saw his injuries, and they were like, yeah, we're just going to let you go to free agency. So that might be a telling sign. So I think the one thing that they can hope for over the next potentially 2 months of without Mike Conley, which is a hell of a long time, is just to survive, If you can maintain a 500 record over that stretch with, given that this is a very good defensive team and Marc Gasol does so much for you offensively and Zebo can still score down low and JaMychal Green has been a surprise, at least for me, and hopefully Chandler Parsons can get back before Conley does. If you can just survive and then you get Conley healthy, ready to go for the postseason, and you can somehow just get this healthy group into the playoffs and manage to at least the 5th seed, so you're not going up against the top 3 in the first round, then this could be a very scary team. But that's all it is. Can they be healthy? Also, can Zach Randolph maintain himself for an entire season? I still am a little weary that he's going to be able to do that, but reduced role, still killing it. His minutes are down. that shows that like the Grizzlies are actively like, Zebo, you're getting up there, but you still have value, so we got to manage you a little bit more. They just got to be healthy, and I want them to be healthy. Now, I will say they do have a bit of a murderer's row coming up on the schedule. They have Golden State, immediately followed by a back-to-back against the Cavaliers. And then they have a deceptively tough 4-game stretch against the Jazz, the Celtics, the Pistons, and the Rockets. So there is a chance they could see some L's piling up here. But again, just survive until Conley comes back. Perhaps try to find another perimeter scorer off the bench. I mean, Vince Carter's going to have the one good game a week. Troy Daniels is hitting his threes, but that's about it. So I think they could be one perimeter scorer off the bench away, along with a healthy roster, of being a very frightening team in the postseason. And hopefully we get that, because I think this healthy Grizzlies team is pretty damn good. So